Hi, I'm your host, Larissa Werstiuk. On this podcast, I explore topics in digital marketing for jewelry designers and retailers, including branding, content, email, events, social media, and more. This is episode 74, and today I'm going to be doing part one of a three-part series where I'm answering questions that jewelry entrepreneurs send me about marketing and conducting business in the time of coronavirus. Over the course of the next 3 episodes, I'll be answering 3 questions at a time, unless I get more questions. If you'd still like to submit a question, you can always email me, Larissa, Laryssa, at joyjoya.com, and I'll do my best to answer it. I have a few exciting announcements to share with you. First, if you're listening to this episode before April 8th, then you'll definitely want to mark your calendar for Wednesday, April 8th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern for a special Instagram Live I'll be doing with jewelry photographer Alan Simic, who was a guest on episode 29 of this podcast, if you want to go back and listen. We'll be having a conversation about the topic, keeping your jewelry business visible during the COVID-19 crisis. To watch, all you have to do is go to Metal & Smith's Instagram page. That's at Metal & Smith, all spelled out in one word. And a special thank you to Metal & Smith for hosting us. Second, I want to let you know I just started a private Facebook group called the Joy Joya Jewelry Marketing Community. And in this group, jewelry entrepreneurs like you will be sharing their marketing wins and helping each other brainstorm solutions to marketing challenges. I'll be moderating the conversation and also offering my own advice and insights. The group is free to join. All you have to do to join is go to facebook.com/groups/jewelry marketing community to request access. Again, that's facebook.com/groups/jewelry marketing community. I look forward to seeing you there. And finally, to better support you, I'm temporarily shifting my free 30-minute consultations to strategy calls because I want to be a resource and supportive partner for you during this time. I'm also spending way too many hours cooped up in my home office, so I selfishly need some human interaction. For this foreseeable future, you can book a call with me by visiting joyjoya.com and using the appointment scheduler in the bottom right corner of the homepage. I'll give you some actionable tips and advice during that call that you can use for free without any obligation. Before we get started with the topic of the day, I want to share some marketing-related news and research from the past week that caught my attention. This one's a little bit fun, has a little bit of element of drama associated with it, but I promise I have a point. There's a reason I'm sharing this one. So, former reality TV star Kristen Cavallari is getting criticized for promoting her jewelry brand Uncommon James for heavily promoting her business during the height of the coronavirus announcements. She was called tone deaf for complaining about the Instagram algorithm and how it's not allowing her to reach as many customers as possible. So again, this story is mostly a lot of drama, and I actually saw it on PerezHilton.com, which is a celebrity gossip site. But the point I'm trying to make is that you need to be super sensitive to your customers' needs at this time. You may feel like you should be doing more to increase your sales, but now is not the time for a hard sales pitch or any messaging that can come across as aggressive or insensitive. Privy, a company that makes email marketing solutions for Shopify stores, recently published a blog post titled, "Double Down, Why Now is the Time to Focus on Your Existing Customers." They write, quote, "The best advice I can give you is to be really thoughtful, considerate, and show lots of empathy for your customers. Ask yourself, what does our community need right now? And what are we uniquely positioned to provide?" End quote. This is an awesome question that you should be asking every day. When was the last time you offered something to your community that you're uniquely positioned to provide? The community can benefit from it now more than ever before. eMarketer recently released some amazing statistics about the state of direct-to-consumer e-commerce. They said in 2019, D2C e-commerce sales reached $14.28 billion in the US. But check this out. In 2020, they forecast that sales will actually grow by 24.3% to $17.75 billion. However, even though those numbers seem really promising, it doesn't mean that D2C brands won't experience their share of hardships. Even though more consumers are definitely buying online, they're focusing more of their attention on the must-have products rather than the nice-to-have products. In addition, you may find that supply chain disruptions could prevent D2C brands from fulfilling orders promptly. Only time will tell what the future holds for e-commerce brands this year. If you want to get the links to the articles I share in that segment of the podcast, you can sign up for my email newsletter by visiting joyjoya.com/sign up, and you'll get a digest with the links whenever a new episode drops. Okay, let's get down to answering some questions. So the first one is super important, and I know a lot of people listening right now have this very same question. In regard to how it affects the jewelry industry, how do you think this economic downturn will compare to the financial crisis of 2008? Okay, that's a big question, and let me preface this by saying I'm not an economist by any means. It's not my expertise, but I did do a lot of research about this, and so I want to share that research, and I just want to share some observations and opinions that I have about it. So I went back and looked for some articles from the 2008-2009 time period to see how the jewelry was affected by that crisis. And according to one article I found from February 2009 in JCK, an article titled "Recession Impacts Jewelry Business," quote, "The deepening U.S. recession has affected more than half of businesses in the North American jewelry industry," end quote. And 9 out of 10 respondents to a survey that JCK did said, quote, "They expect the crisis to have some or great effect on U.S. retail jewelers in the next 2 years," end quote. So if you did own a jewelry business during that time, you probably experienced the effects of that crisis firsthand. So how will this year compare to 2008? Well, again, I'm not an economist, but I've done some research. So even though 2008 was more than a decade ago, the people who lived through that economic crisis still remember it well, and the anxieties they're feeling now about our shaky economy mimic the same anxiety they felt then when the United States experienced a systemic financial crisis. However, I found an article on World Economic Forum that says we actually shouldn't be comparing the coronavirus crisis to 2008. A shock to the financial system that comes as a surprise, like the one we're experiencing now, isn't necessarily as damaging as one that gathers momentum when financial conditions worsen and banks fail, like they did more than a decade ago. All that being said, the future is still uncertain since public health experts don't exactly know how this virus will continue to affect us. According to another article I found from the World Economic Forum, quote, "If the public health response, including social distancing and lockdown measures, is initially successful but fails to prevent a resurgence in the virus, the world will experience a muted economic recovery, and they expect the economy to recover fully by Q3 2022. That does seem pretty far away. However, in that same article, they also had data from McKinsey that broke down predictions by industry. And McKinsey predicts that the apparel, fashion, and luxury industries will experience a global restart by late Q2, Q3 2020. And online growth actually still exists. So that's a little bit more hopeful. I hope that answers that question. Here's another great question I had submitted to me. Should I be starting a new jewelry business or launching new products or collections at this time? Great question. Now is probably not the best time to start a new jewelry business, since carving out a space in the marketplace can involve the use of aggressive sales and marketing tactics that aren't appropriate for our times. That being said, I don't like being negative, so I'm going to find a silver lining to this. I do think that up-and-coming jewelry entrepreneurs can absolutely still make a lot of progress in this time of economic uncertainty. I was thinking a lot about the beauty brand Glossier, and let me explain what this has to do with what I'm talking about. So, in 2010, Emily Weiss launched Into the Gloss, which was a blog featuring interviews with women about their beauty and self-care regimens. By 2012, just 2 years later, her site was attracting more than 200,000 unique visitors per month. And then 2 years after that, in 2014, Weiss decided to pivot from blogger extraordinaire to beauty entrepreneur. She launched her own beauty company, Glossier, which was very recently valued at $1.2 billion. What the heck does this story have to do with launching a new jewelry business? Well, the point is that when Emily started Into the Gloss, she never set out to create a billion-dollar beauty empire. She was just doing it as a fun hobby that she would do in the morning from 4 to 8 a.m. before she went to her full-time job. Instead, she started her site with a goal to create content and a sense of community. She shared her passion and her voice. Instead of launching your products right now, you can focus exclusively on content like Emily did. Build your brand around your unique content and amass a loyal following. Once you're finally ready to launch your products in a more favorable socioeconomic climate, you'll already have gained a massive group of primed customers who are dying to buy into your lifestyle. They're craving it. If you're an established jewelry brand, then what are you supposed to do? Well, you'll need to decide on a case-by-case basis whether now's the right time to launch new products or collections. Here's some examples. This week, I saw Jennifer Mayer launch a new gold link jewelry collection, while Anna Khoury is supporting Doctors Without Borders by donating 100% of proceeds from the sale of a new special edition ring that she just launched. On the other hand, we have Tiffany, which actually postponed the retail rollout of their new T1 collection, which, quote, the company hoped would drive its business forward into the second half of the new year, end quote, according to Women's Wear Daily. Before you launch, you'll want to ask yourself 3 questions. 1, does this feel appropriate? 2, how will launching now as opposed to later affect my bottom line? And 3, can I market this in a way that speaks to the times? And now my last question was submitted to me on Instagram. If my gold, silver, or gemstone supplier is closed, how can I source alternatives? What if I run out of supplies? Not having access to supplies can be devastating for a jewelry brand, especially if you're actually actively selling products at this time and want to continue fulfilling orders. Unless you can find alternatives for your raw materials, you obviously won't be able to move forward. This might help. I recently noticed a post by Gem Atlas on the Women's Jewelry Association forum. This company offers a platform that connects businesses within the diamond, gem, and jewelry industry. They're currently offering a free 1-month premium pack to help jewelry business owners with business continuity. I haven't personally used Gem Atlas, so I can't vouch for it, but their website says that their platform will allow you to find suppliers for all your requirements and connect you with the supply chain, from miners to retailers. Since it's currently free, it may be worth a shot. In addition, thinking outside the box a little bit, now may be a great time to consider diversifying your business model. So I was recently thinking about Broken English, which is a jewelry retailer with boutiques in Santa Monica, New York City, and Newport Beach. They're already known for selling on-trend designer fine jewelry, but they also recently launched the Be Home collection, which is, quote, designed to inspire your living space with clean, modern designs that are crafted to be chic and functional, end quote, according to their website. Can you potentially sell something that's not jewelry, but that still relates to your jewelry brand? If you don't want to get into selling objects, then you can try selling your expertise. Create a course about styling jewelry or something similar. We all have unique talents and skills that we can monetize, and they don't necessarily require you to depend on the supply chain. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Again, if you have a question that you'd like to submit for the next 2 episodes, email me, Larissa, LARYSSA, @joyjoya.com. As a reminder, I'm temporarily shifting my free 30-minute consultations to strategy calls because I want to be a resource and supportive partner for you during this time. For the foreseeable future, you can book a call with me by visiting joyjoya.com and using the appointment scheduler on the bottom right corner of my homepage. During that call, I'll give you actionable tips and advice that you can use for free without obligation.